for coming. Who is new to meditation? Who's not a meditator and is just checking it out? You guys are all, you've meditated, right? Okay, great. So my name is Robbin. Some of you know me. I think probably you maybe all do. I've been practicing Zen meditation for many years. I currently go to the Zen Center in Pacific Beach, and I also come here. And so what we'll do this evening is we'll talk a bit, we'll have a little discussion, we'll meditate about that again, and then meditate again. So, I wanted to call on Michael, because Michael was at the Zen Center this on Saturday. So would you tell the group what that was like for you? And if you hated it, be honest. I just want to know what your experience was.
I actually really enjoyed it. It's not my first time at the Zen Center.
Right.
So I kind of knew what I was getting myself into.
Good.
But once a month they do a newcomer orientation, which I would highly recommend going to. I went to on Saturday, where they sort of explain like some of the more formal elements like bowing and the way that you sit, like the actual postures and things. So that was very helpful. But I thought it was a wonderful community. I plan on going on Wednesday nights. Cool. And so I think they do a little bit of a literature discussion on Wednesday nights, but Saturday is like the main program. So if anyone is interested in a more formal silent practice, I would highly recommend you check it out. I think it's a cool place and very nice, neat people.
Thanks for sharing that. Yeah. Cool. Yeah, someone had asked me, do you have to be a member to go there? And you don't. Okay, so the main program is Saturday morning from 9 to 12, and it consists of 3 sitting periods, 2 walking periods, a service, and a Dharma talk. So you pretty much, it's your whole morning. You felt like it was worth it, huh?
Yeah, I like it.
Great, okay.
It's called Zen.
It's Zen Center San Diego, ZCSD, and it's in Pacific Beach. Yeah, so they have a website, so check that out. Yeah. Derwin, did you have a question?
What's the service?
Service? It's we'll do like a reading, and people have an opportunity to go up to an altar that's set up. Now, interestingly enough, it's a Zen Center, but it doesn't have all these statues. It just has a rock on the altar. The thought being, Buddha is in everything. Buddha nature is everywhere. It's even in the rock. So that's how that is. So it's kind of a ritualized way, if you because you're at the service, right? Mm-hmm. Of walking up to the altar. You go in 3s, and people bow, and then go up to the candle. Make an offering, move to the other side, they bow together. So it's almost like a dance, and that's sort of how I look at the ritual of Zen. It's like a dance. So it's all in the interest of being mindful. So you're not just doing it to do it, okay? So when you're walking, maybe they'll suggest that you have your heels at the back edge of the mat, and then when you bow like this, and it's all to keep yourself centered, because you know how our minds are; they're always off everywhere, So it's a way of doing that. So do that, and then there'll be a reading of people who are ill, people that we're going to be offering. We don't so much say prayers in Zen, but you can think of it as prayers, offering loving kindness, compassion to people who may need some of that. And then there's some ritualized bowing, full bows. So, yeah, I think you might like it. You should check it out. I've seen you do some full bows already, so I know you know how to do it. And the thing about bowing practice, that's another thing that can be so beautiful. It's just like you're giving up your ego. You're just bowing to what is, and that's the whole thing. That's the whole thing about Zen meditation. That's the whole thing about meditation is being present to what is, not what all is spinning in your head. I mean, that is happening too, but there's so much more that we just don't pay attention to. So that's what that is. Wonder if anybody went to the all-day sit on Saturday here at It's actually half-day sit. Has anyone ever done that? That's a nice opportunity to have, I think it starts at 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and goes to 12. So it's 4 hours. It's not 4 hours straight. People get scared and they think, I can't meditate and sit still for 4 hours, but it's not 4 hours in a row. It's like 20 minutes, you have a little walking, get a little break, work practice, etc. So if you are interested in cultivating a silent practice without a lot of talking, it's worth checking, okay? Other opportunities here are in the mornings from 8 to 8:30, 8:30 to 9 meditation. There's just somebody in the back who rings the bell. At the same midday from noon to 1. So some people, and it's not for everyone, some people really like to have someone guiding them, saying, okay, where's your mind? Where's your breath? With silent meditation, we don't do that. So I'll give you a bunch of instructions in the beginning, and you kind of will set your intention to maintain. You're going to choose like how you're going to do your practice, okay? And then we'll do it, and then we'll talk about how it went, okay? The gentleman in the back with the hat, have you been here before?
Mm-hmm.
You have, okay. Do you have a meditation practice, so you kind of know meditation a little bit?
I'm just starting to get into Buddhism.
Say that again?
I'm just starting to get into all of it.
Okay, great. So,
I came here last week the first time.
you did, okay, very good. So you were here when Alma was here?
I'm not sure who it was. It was just a circle, and then someone. It was like a college student or someone that graduated from SSU.
Oh, that might be
Yeah.
Thursday, yeah. There's lots of opportunities here, so yeah, you can't really go wrong. Okay, so I'm gonna explain about Zen practice and how it's a little bit different from maybe other sitting that you might have done coming here. So if you've ever come on a Tuesday evening or a Saturday morning, there'll be meditation practice and there'll be some guidance. There'll be instructions at the beginning, and then there'll be some guidance about don't forget to follow your breath, where's your mind, etc., etc. With Zen, it's silent. So it's a silent, still practice. So I'm going to offer you some suggestions of how you might do that. So why do we want to be still? If our bodies are still, perhaps our mind can be still. Our minds are constantly going, constantly going. Let me just, while I'm thinking of it, let me read this quote from Pema Chodron. Some of you may have heard of her. She's a Zen teacher. She suggests pause, connect with the immediacy of your experience, connect with the blessings, liberate yourself from the cocoon of self-involvement, talking to yourself all of the time, completely obsessing. Allow a gap. Just do it over and over. Allow yourself the space to realize where you are. Realize how big your mind is. And just keep doing it. So, even like when we take a walk, how often do you take your thoughts for a walk? You're not even maybe noticing that you're walking. We'll talk a little bit more later about some ways that you can practice just doing one thing. So like when you're driving, just drive. Maybe don't have the radio on. Maybe don't be doing anything other than focusing on what you're doing. Feeling the steering wheel in your hands. Seeing what's happening. I try to practice when I'm walking anywhere, just like noticing walking, trying to just be present with where I am. So too, when we're doing our sitting practice, and then sitting is another term for meditation practice, we're being where we are, okay? So the suggestion is to pick a posture that you can, and I will say, can you commit to this posture until the bell rings? And on average here, we're gonna meditate maybe 20 minutes, maybe 15, so about that length of time. So if you can sit straight with both of your feet on the floor, you can have your hands in your lap. Some people like to do what's called the cosmic mudra, where one hand holds the other and the thumbs are joined. It's just a way of keeping yourself centered. Like, what am I doing now? I'm not just sitting here daydreaming, I'm meditating. So that's another thing that you might do. So you want to be able to sit still. Sometimes when you know that you're not supposed to move, it really makes you want to move. If you know that the suggestion is, if you have an itch on your face, don't scratch it, oh man, you really want to scratch it, right? So we're so attached to feeling comfortable until we don't even think about it. It's like, oh, I have an itch, I'm just gonna scratch it. Well, what would happen if I didn't scratch it? It's an odd concept, like, why would you not? Well, try it, see what happens, right? I've given the experience before of being on a longer retreat and having a tickle in my throat. And I don't want to disturb other people in the Zendo by coughing, and so I'll just be present with it. And so what I have felt is an extreme itching on the inside of my throat, tears coming down my face, and finally it goes away. So like if you don't clear your throat, eventually it's going to stop irritating you. I remember telling the story to someone and they said, oh, that's just stupid, just clear your throat. Well, yeah, you could do that, but you could also try something else, okay? So anyway, so you're gonna pick your posture. Some people sit on cushions. I see we all have chair sitters, it's fine. However you sit. So you're gonna be alert. The suggestion for what do you do with your eyes? In Zen practice, we suggest that you have your eyes cast down about 45 degrees. So you can still see the periphery, but you're not like looking around, you're not getting too distracted by people around you and things around you, okay? Some people find that's just too hard to do and they want to have their eyes closed. There's nothing wrong with having your eyes closed. Having your eyes closed can make you feel kind of sleepy though. So what I would suggest is if you're used to having your eyes closed, go ahead and close them. If you notice that you're nodding off or getting into some dreamy state, just open them for a while. Okay, so you're going to be straight. Your hands are going to be in a certain position. You're going to commit to that posture. You're going to have your eyes cast down. Now, what are you going to do about your mind? Your mind's going to be wanting to bounce all over, especially because there's nothing here to distract you except for your thoughts. So the suggestion is, in the beginning, it's always helpful to count your breath as a concentration practice. So in, out, 1. In, out, 2. And you try to get to 10. Some people do, each part is 1. So inhaling is 1, exhaling is 2. However you do it, you're focusing on just that. It's rare that you're gonna get to 10, trust me. People say they've done it. I don't know that I've ever done it. And it's also amazing to see how much your mind just really wants to think. You can be counting your breath and thinking at the same time. So you want to catch yourself. And when you catch yourself, you want to just remind yourself, oh yeah, what was I doing here? Oh, meditating, okay? So you can follow your breath. Some people like to also do what's called a 3-point awareness or even a 2-point awareness. So in addition to paying attention to your breath, you may be paying attention to sounds. So once I stop talking and we start meditating, you'll notice sounds. And sometimes we want to focus on them. Oh, what was that? Or the sound can be a reminder to you to come back to what you're doing here, which is meditating. So you can do breath, sound, and then what could the third point be? The third point could be bodily sensations. It could be environment. So if you feel a breeze, sometimes when the fans are going, you can feel the breeze. So you're doing everything to keep your mind still. Okay, that makes sense. Anybody have questions about that? Okay, so we're going to go ahead and get started, and I'll ring the bell 3 times to start and 2 times to end. The way that I learned it was that after the bell rings at the end, we do a little bow together, just a little hand bow. What that is just acknowledging that we just did something special, and we're kind of bowing to each other, that we're all doing this, okay? You may get to like bowing. The more you go to the Zen Center, you may kind of get into it, right? So it's a way to show respect and reverence. What are we bowing to? Whatever you want, okay? Okay, everybody ready? Questions? Get your wiggles out now. Okay. would like to hear from a few of you. What was that like for you?
It's hard to sit still,
Hard to sit still?
Yeah.
Yeah,
fidget.
and you noticed that you were doing it? Yeah, okay. Did you try to stop?
Not too hard.
Not too hard, okay. Well, that's one thing to notice. Like, so, are you new to meditation? Okay, so that's one of the things you're gonna notice. Like, I just really wanna move. She said I can't move, I wanna move, No one's gonna kick you out for moving, But, so that's a good awareness. And I've heard it said that what we do on the cushion is how we do with the rest of our lives. So if we're fidgety trying to meditate, we might be fidgety in the rest of our lives. But it's all kind of connected. You say that might be true. What were you doing with your thoughts? How were you dealing with that?
I did really well at concentrating on my breath.
On the breath, okay.
Yeah, I went way past 10.
You did, wow.
Yeah,
Good for you, I believe you. Okay, awesome,
but I was just really concentrating on my breath.
good for you. Okay, well, that's good. You keep on doing that, and after a while, you're gonna be able to sit still too. Okay. And were your eyes open or closed?
Closed.
Closed, okay. And you didn't feel like sleepy or anything like that?
No.
Okay. Who else? Did you share?
I think as far as counting without just like a thought coming up,
Uh-huh.
I think I might have gotten to 4.
You might have gotten to 4, yeah, that's pretty much typical, yeah.
That's even shaky. I did notice that kind of being mindful of like the counting.
Uh-huh.
Generally when I meditate, I'm not counting, and so sometimes the thoughts will drift off for a little bit longer. So I end up having less thoughts, but they last a little bit longer, right? Whereas this time around, I probably thought of like a million different things, but they were only there for maybe, half of the day, half of an in-breath or less, and then I was floating down.
Okay. So, it's really about noticing what you're up to. What is your mind up to? Because it's our mind that drives it a lot. So, would you mind sitting up?
Of course.
I appreciate it. It just helps us maintain, meditation awareness. Thank you. Yeah. So what was that like for you, the meditation?
It was a lot of different stages
Yeah.
of feelings. It was I usually meditate with my eyes closed, and I'm just counting to 5 or 10 in, 5 or 10 out.
Mhm.
And then my mind drifts and I let it come back, whatever it does, and it's like a rep, And then this one was, I tried doing it with my eyes open.
Mhm.
Stare. I actually forget how you exactly said keep your eyes
Well, just have
open.
your eyes cast down, so, like you're, like maybe a 45-degree angle, so you could still kind of be aware that you're in a room,
Yeah.
but you don't have the whole place to like get distracted. So
Yeah,
that
so I kind of kept that gaze at the bottom step there and,
Good.
and felt like I was just sort of taking it in, the feeling, and then also the commitment thing. I was just really, because I don't think that I've been committing to posture. I've really just been committing to, the act of coming back to the counting. And so that was like the first couple stages of it, and then I started realizing that I was blinking a little bit because my eyes are dry, and then I started having difficulty because my back was hurting a little bit. So I just thought about you crying when you had to cough, and then I was like, I'll stick out the back pain, and somehow that had a couple stages of difficulty, and then at some point I was like, I don't know how long it's been, but I want to be out of this, and I'm just screaming in my mind,
Sure.
just when is this gonna
Like, when is she
end?
gonna ring the dang bell, right?
When is she gonna ring the bell? I want to ring the bell so bad,
Mhm.
and
I've been there.
and it's like, am I gonna even come back and do this again? If it's it's like this, and
Sure.
and then it was more question, and then at some point, it was more like, then questions of like, it almost like it hit a point where I was like, relaxed with it. And I had questions about like, how many breakthroughs did you have to have before you, got to a point where it was a lot more easy? And then if you stop doing this for a certain amount of time, how long does it take for you to do it again until you're back into your rhythm?
Yeah.
And does this same time period feel the same to you, when you first started doing it? Or did it just kind of skip through like a couple minutes?
Well, I've been doing this for a long time, and I have experienced certainly when the heck are they going to ring the bell thing? Thinking like the timekeeper must have fallen asleep. Like, why is this taking so long? I've also experienced a meditation that goes by just that fast. So why is that? I don't know. I would try to just say, just do it, commit to it. Don't try to analyze it so much. Just like commit to being present. So what's happening while we're meditating? We're breathing. We're noticing that we're breathing. We may be hearing sounds. We may be having sensations. That's all that's happening. All of this constant chatter, we could push the pause button on that and just give it a rest so we can be really present for this experience. So that's the whole thing. And as you talk about it, again, what we do when we're meditating is reflective of what we do in the rest of our life. So, you can ask yourself the question, well, do I have these kind of thoughts about other things? If something is hard, do I want to leave? Those kinds of things. And so you get an insight into yourself, okay? And it kind of sneaks up on you, like, oh yeah, I was doing that. Do I do that in other places of my life? Yeah, I do. So that's where we can get some insight. That makes sense?
Yeah, it never dawned on me that maybe those thoughts are not of some type of normalcy, and that maybe those are something that takes away more of my life or me being in the present.
Right. It's not that they're not normal. They're very normal. They're very common. As the quote that I read earlier, I don't know if you were here, Pema Chodron talks about, we're constantly talking to ourselves. Constantly. The brain just never shuts up. So this is an opportunity to let your brain have a vacation from bell ring to bell ring. And you'll find as you do this more and more, you have more of a sense of ease and calm. Okay, so sometimes people say, well, I meditate because it calms me down. But some people get agitated when they meditate because a bunch of stuff may come up that maybe needs to come up. Okay, so my advice to you would be just do it. Just keep on doing it and try not to analyze it so much. And it's hard. Nobody's saying that this is easy and it's not for everyone. And people will say, this is stupid, I hate it, I'm never coming back. Well, maybe you'll come back another time next year. We're almost to the end of the year. But I would just say keep trying because you're going to find benefits to it. So thank you for being willing to share all that. Now, anybody else? How about you?
I usually try to go to sleep.
You try to go to sleep when you're meditating?
Yeah.
Oh, what do you do when it's bedtime? Do you meditate?
I no,
You find yourself falling
I
asleep?
didn't this time,
Okay.
which was good, but
Yeah.
I have osteoporosis and I tweaked my back last night, so
Yeah.
I had a lot of pain in there.
Yeah, I can relate to you. You had said back pain too, and you were talking about back pain. Back in the day, I used to sit on the cushion. And then as I got older and more arthritis moved into my body, I was danged if I was going to get off that cushion and sit on a chair, because you can't be a real meditator if you're sitting in a chair, right? That was my story. And I got to the point where I'd be on a retreat and all I could think of is, when are they going to ring the bell? It was just torture. Until finally I could get on a chair and I'm like, I could do this. So, cut yourself a break sometime. That's why I find the pillow behind my back is very supportive. You sat on the cushion this time. Maybe you want to sit on the chair for the next period, because we're going to do another little set of meditations. So just be aware of what your body's wanting. Okay. What I want to suggest for this next period is let's go a little deeper. So did anyone do anything other than counting breaths? Did anyone do like listening for sounds, looking for sensations? Okay, and you guys but you've done that before and you're good with it, it doesn't bother you. Cool, it's not too many things to focus on. Okay, that's good. Well, because your mind, if it has its own way, is gonna give you a million things to focus on, so we're training our minds to be present, okay? So my suggestion is, with the breath, really pay attention to it, really feel the sensation. So just do it right now, just like focus on your breath. Take a breath in, feel the coolness of the air in your nostrils, feel your chest rising. And then as you exhale, feel the chest fall. So feel that bodily sensation of breathing. So not only counting it, but experience it. So we'll try that. And then if you're also adding sounds, just welcome the sounds. The sounds can help you. Let's say you don't focus on sound. A sound like you might hear a car go by, that might remind you, oh, geez, I was just daydreaming. I wasn't even meditating. Come back, okay? What I'll say to myself oftentimes is, come back. I'll notice I'm daydreaming, come back. Whatever you say to yourself to bring yourself back, just do that. But let's really focus on the experience of the breath and just, one thing I noticed with silent sitting like this, silent still sitting, is just the beauty of it. Just the beauty of the silence. It's just a beautiful sensation, and we're all doing it together. And we can feel the breath, and we can feel the sensations, and it feels pretty special. Not everybody does this. Okay, so when we do the breath, experience it. And if it helps you to breathe a little deeper, go ahead and do that. And I'm just going to suggest to you, since you've already admitted that you're fidgety, see if you can try to not fidget as much. Just commit to that, okay? You think you can do that? I bet you could. Okay, good. So we're just committing for when the bell rings to when the bell rings, okay? So you're gonna choose your posture, however you're gonna hold your hands. I noticed you were doing this cosmic mudra. Is that helpful for you? Does it help you focus?
Yeah, if I like my thumbs come undone, then I'm like, oh, better.
You're like, oh, whoops, I wasn't
Yeah.
focused. Yeah, it's a good reminder. Okay, great. Okay. All right, and then, so you're gonna commit to your posture, you're gonna plan what are you gonna do with your thoughts when they come up, not if they come up, when they come up. You're going to experience the breath, not only count it, if you're counting, but really feel it. When the thoughts come up, just come back to the breath, whatever your focus is, okay? All right. So how was that? Sometimes the second sitting is easier than the first because your mind is already getting into settling down. Sometimes it's just like, I really want to get out of here. It can be whatever it is, okay? Before I forget to read this, someone watching us online gave a comment. She said, I think it was she, it was challenging. I scratched my eye and realized that I'll get better at being still with practice. Eyes closed, and when thoughts entered my mind, I focused on breathing and let thoughts pass. That's exactly it. Just keep doing it, just keep practicing. And I want to give you credit, especially those of you who may be struggling a little bit with it, for even doing it. Because it's not easy, it isn't easy. I noticed you were a lot more still, so you made that commitment, you did really well. How was it for you this time?
It was a lot better, actually. I felt exactly how that person said.
Yeah.
Just
yeah.
when things came up, it's almost like if I'm thinking about enough things to focus on,
Yeah,
then
other
my
than,
mind can't
exactly.
wander as much.
Right, so you're giving your mind kind of a container. We only get to go this far. Did you notice the experience of the breath? Did you notice how sweet that is, the coolness of the air? Did you notice all the different sounds there are out there? Cars, airplanes, a door closing. I mean, you could just hear all of those things. They don't necessarily have to be distracting. It's just like, that happened, back to my breath. So, good for you. I give you guys a lot of credit. Thank you. Any more comments or questions before we have Vicki come up and give us some announcements?
One of the things that really makes me crazy is that I hum.
You
My
hum.
mind hums.
You mind us, okay.
And it's not a song like a name.
Mhm.
It is it plays in the background.
In the background,
And that just drives me crazy.
Right, so maybe a concentration practice would help push that into the background. Just really focusing on
Focusing on it.
one, two, just really concentrating on one thing. You may want to try that rather than the open awareness to breath, sound, sensations. Maybe just focusing on one thing would be helpful. But our minds are so powerful. They don't want us to do this. Our minds, if you will, have a mind of their own. They just want to distract you and annoy you and bring up stuff that's not happening and give you things to worry about, and like, just take a break and just meditate. And you may notice, you do this enough, you're going to notice a change in your life. I promise. Yes.
When I first started practicing, I did exclusively a breath concentration, like very, very sort of disciplined on the breath. It wasn't until I met Sharon that I tried that open awareness, and it was very, very difficult for me at first. Like I didn't want to make the transition.
Yeah.
Because like I was like, oh, I like my breath practice, that's it, I'm done, I'm good.
Mhm.
And so, but breath practice is a good place to start. It was for me.
Yeah. There's nothing wrong with it. There are people who follow their breath and that's all they ever do, and they count their breaths and that's all they ever do. And other people, want to do other things. So just at the beginning of your period of sitting, just make your commitment. What's my posture going to be? I'm going to commit to that posture. What am I going to do with my thoughts? What am I going to do with my breath? And have a plan going in, so that when the meditation bell sounds and we're just in the silence, no one's going to be reminding you, like, breathing in, breathing out, where's your mind? So it's kind of like it's all on you. And sure, you can sit here and daydream. No one's going to know. You'll know. But my suggestion would be, give it your all while you're here. Just do it. This person wrote again, second time was better. Scratched my eye again, focused on breath more, and tuned into stillness and sound. And someone has a question, what is the purpose of meditating in the lotus position? So sitting on a cushion with your legs crossed in a particular way, there's no particular purpose. If that feels good to you, it's a very stable pose. So you have your knees and your back is straight and you're sitting up straight. If you can do it, great. If you can't, it's not a thing. So like I said, for me, I used to sit on a cushion, now I sit on a chair. Whatever works for you. If you want to try something sometime, try lotus. It's if you're younger, it's easier. I'll tell you that much. Okay. Anybody else have a question or comment? Okay, Vicky, our host, is gonna, oh, I'm sorry, you
No,
had
that's okay.
something? Are you sure?
You know, I have, it must be very visual because when I'm studying a language, I have to see the words in order for it to stick.
Yeah,
And when I'm, like you said, pay attention to your lungs, and so I'm visualizing my
Okay.
lungs filling up.
there you go.
And so when thoughts come in, they're not thoughts, they're just pictures, little pictures.
Okay.
And they bounce in and out.
Just let them bounce in and out. Just don't grab onto them.
Right.
And give yourself a whole storyline. Just
Right.
notice, oh, there's that, okay, grab.
Back to the
Right, and if it helps you to visualize your lungs, go for it. As long as you don't get into a whole story and think about, okay, what do the lungs look like, and then the gas transmission, and because we can distract ourselves without even trying. Yeah, good for you, you did great. Okay, all right, Ms. Vicky, what do you got for us?
I have, hello everyone, I'm Vicky, I'm your host tonight. We opened the Robbin Temple 17 years ago to introduce Buddhist practice to those who show up. Those who lead are not nuns, monks, gurus, masters, or teachers, and are not looking for students. They are simply